Hello and welcome to a new episode of Digging Deep, an Okie A11 podcast. I'm your host, Luis, and today I'm with Noel Rojas, who works at Gridhawk, a proud member of Okie A11, and he also does part of an essential work when it comes to the whole process of A11, which is locating. Thank you, Noel, for being here with us. Tell us about what locating means, but first, tell us who you are.
Thank you very much, Luis. I'm happy to be here. A little bit about myself. I represent Gridhawk. We do utility locating in the state of Oklahoma. We mark telecommunications. A little bit about my background. I've been locating for nearly a little over 9 years, nearly a decade it seems already. Time flies pretty quick. So we've been doing it for a little bit. We have a great team with us, people with far more experience than I am as well, and it's been pretty good. I started my locating journey in Colorado, locating in Denver in the metro over there, which is a whole nother beast over there. But yeah, so a little bit about what I do, as you said, is we locate for telecommunications.
Telecommunications.
Yep, phone, telephone, internet, fiber. Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit of how actual locating works, and does it vary from doing telecommunication undergrounds and other type of utilities? I mean, you also lived in Colorado. What changes do you see from state to state? It's also depending on the, we're talking about the soils, right?
Right.
Colorado is more mountains and more dry, I would say, in some areas.
Very much so. It's some completely night and day. It's crazy how the utilities locate differently depending on where you're at. Is what you said. Soil types can change it. They give more resistance to your transmitter, which we have right here in front of me, and I'll dig into that a little bit. But yeah. So as far as Colorado, when I started locating over there, very rocky. The soil was stone. I mean, it provided, it does not very conducive to locating very well, depending on where you're at there. And then it just depends where you're at. I remember one thing that really stuck out to me when I first started there, and this also depends where you're at. Oklahoma City versus Enid, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
City versus rural. I was in the city. I remember one of my first weeks, my coach took me to a manhole, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with manholes.
I think I've heard it. Give me a little bit of break. So, I'm still a little new here.
Right. So I think everybody mostly knows them as far as like sewer manhole. Sewer is typically what I always thought before I started locating. But there's telecommunications in manholes. There's electric. There's gas. There's all kinds of stuff. More so, what I did was the telephone side. Whenever I was over there, we got in a manhole that was, you could have parked 4 trucks in it. Huge spools and spools of fiber. Copper lines, all kinds of stuff. So, things change depending where you're at. Cities, there's a lot more stuff like that, a lot more congested utilities, as well as, traffic and everything like that. So, kind of changes. It varies wherever you go. Mm-hmm.
So, does trying to locate fiber, and like you said, in some areas here in the state, how hard is it? Like, for example, I mean, fiber is such I would say it's like a sensitive, I guess, underground line, right? Because it has multiple cables in one, right?
Right, yeah. So as well as other lines, they all have their different challenges. Fiber, I mean, some of the challenges you run across fiber is, at least for where we locate, is finding hookups for it. Okay. You might have a locate that starts here, on 1 mile east of town, but your hookup for that locate isn't right there. Yeah. It's 5 miles down the road. So you go 5 miles down the road and you send a signal down to that line, and by the time it reaches that locate area, it's probably not going to be locating very well. So the challenge is hookups. Soil types, sandy soil. Yeah. Northwest Oklahoma, where I'm from, where I kind of locate over there. That's all sandy soil, and so that provides another element.
Oh, actual sand.
Actual sand, yeah.
Is that where what is it called? The
Little Sahara.
Sahara,
Little Sahara. The ATVs, they go to all that stuff.
I've never been there yet. I'm just kind of changing a little bit from off topic, but I've heard it's really pretty.
It's very pretty. It's very cool. But yeah, that also adds an element to what's called resistance to your transmitter, sandy soil. And so there's all kinds of stuff that changes, makes locating fiber as well as anything else pretty difficult. But you have your tricks to overcome that kind of stuff.
Tell us a little bit about how those tricks can be solved. I mean, before we jump into this equipment, has technology helped locate faster and more efficient with the new equipment?
I would say so. It hasn't, to be honest, it hasn't changed as far as too much from when I started to now. There's a lot more different things. There's GPS, which has been around for a while, but for what I do, I mean, it hasn't seemed to change too much. I know, you start going from the 80s, 90s, the equipment looks a lot different, but this is just a Vivex transmitter by Metrotech. And so, I mean, the way this works is you're just sticking this into the ground. So imagine this is the soil. You're just grounding this, you're hooking this up to that, and then you're taking your lead, your positive lead here, and you're hooking it up to the utility, wherever that might be, whether that's phone, whether that's electric or gas. So that's how you make that signal work. Now, you talked about how do you overcome those challenges? So
yeah, for example, the
sandy soil.
Yeah.
So this is a small ground rod. I typically don't use this one too often. I had this in my truck. I mean, we usually have ground rods about this long, much longer. The shorter the ground rod, the less
you're gonna have contact.
You're not gonna have, especially if it's sand. You think about sand is not compact; it's very loose. So you can stick your hand in sand and it's very loose. So when you stick a ground rod in, you're not getting very compact soil to provide a good signal. So the longer the ground rod, the better. That's where you have to either dig down, half a foot to get to a little more firm soil, and then place your ground rod. And that will overcome a lot of the resistance to provide a better signal. So that's something a lot of people don't think about when you're first starting out is your ground rod placement.
So just the simple tools have to be
pushing it in, just pushing it in deeper. Some people will stick it in right there and in sandy soil, and then look at the transmitter, and it has really low milliamps. Well, the reason why you dig that all the way to the ground level, you're probably going to get a better signal. So
those natural conditions can help a little. Like for example, in that scenario, if it rains or when it gets muddy, is it easier just to be able to stick it all the way in and it makes it easy to locate, or no?
It makes it, easier to push the ground rod in, but also water, electricity provides better, more conducive for a better locate.
Do you guys actually do locate when it's raining, or? If it's not full raining.
Yeah, that's one thing about locating is you're outdoors. You're locating all the elements. Now, that being said, with safety in mind, here in Oklahoma, we get a lot of freezing rain.
Yeah.
We get some snow, but mostly ice conditions, and they can make the roads hazardous. So we keep all that in mind, and we work ahead. We're always looking at the radar, seeing what's coming down. And if we're expected to have, whether it be rain or snow or whatever the case is, we'll work our future tickets, try to get as far ahead so that we don't have to be working through that kind of stuff.
Locating is all year round. It doesn't stop. It might kind of slow a little bit in when it comes to winter, but even when the day goes back to good weather, you guys are back out there again. And
correct, yeah, and we have what's called a dig season, spring to fall, and generally the highest peak. And for us, it's slowed down a little bit, and we're starting to enter that kind of a little bit lower back end of the dig season, so it's slowed down a little bit. But there's contractors trying to finish up their tickets, their end of year projects before the year's over. So those tend to peak up a little bit right now too.
So this is the receiver,
transmitter,
right? Transmitter, right? This is transmitter, and the other piece, the other equipment that you have, this is the actual.
So yeah, this is the receiver.
The receiver, yeah.
So transmitter transmits the signal.
Yeah.
Receiver picks it up.
Yeah.
The way that picks it up is you have to match the frequency. So
you have to match. Yeah.
Yep. So you match it. You set this to whatever frequency you're going to be in. You match that up with this one, and then you do your sweep, and then you pick up the signal, and then you can able to trace it out and find out where you're going. But yeah, this is just this is a Vivex. Most of my time I've spent locating with an RD, the radio detection. That's another type of equipment.
A little more upscale, or
no? It depends what kind. There's some of these that just as good. Yeah. My preference probably radio detection. I've done all my life with it.
Okay.
We recently switched over to these, but they're still real good pieces of equipment. So, but yeah.
And I have a question when it comes to, and for those who don't know, Noel was in with us for the Spanish Safety Day that we did back in October. He was able to provide some good knowledge and education about locating. Was able to answer some questions to some of those locators who went, and he did great. He speaks Spanish as well, and some of the stuff that we were talking back in October, early October actually, because I mean I'm jumping ahead. It hasn't finished yet the month.
Yeah.
That sometimes it can be difficult, right? I mean, sometimes if the locating can be off sometimes, correct? I mean,
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
making a mistake is a human natural thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no locate is perfect. You know, we do our best to make sure our marks are accurate. What we do as far as accuracy, which is what a lot of people want to know, is what are you doing to prevent inaccuracies?
Yeah.
So what we do is we have a 12-step process, and we go through all the steps. First one being is parking safely, the very bare minimum. PPE before you get out of your truck, put your cones out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And those are the first ones, just getting there. And then you go through the steps, properly reading the ticket. Did I read the full scope? Did I mark everything they requested on the ticket?
Positive response too, right? You guys check that.
Positive response.
You
Yeah.
got all the answers from everybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then so there's a checklist we go through kind of internally. Everybody knows this, and we went through it in training. But you go through that checklist, and anytime you do get to something where inaccuracies might happen, where the transmitter is going to tell you everything. You may hook up to something. You're expecting 25 milliamps. You're only getting 1 milliamp. Red flags right away. So something's wrong. So then now you got to figure out, okay, why did this line supposed to take me this way? It's not giving me anything.
Yeah.
So now you got to maybe go around the other end, hook up from that end, chase it back this way, and that provides a really good signal. So it could be a grounding issue with the utility. Okay. So eventually you get to a point where if you still can't get it, we escalate. I always tell everybody, escalate. Send it up to your lead tech. Lead tech will go out there and take a look. Hey, I still can't get this. Goes to the manager. And we have an escalation process to prevent those inaccuracies. And so eventually it gets to me or it gets to another manager. We can't get it. We've done everything we can, every trick of the book we know, and we still can't get it. We're going to call the utility company, and we get them involved. And so there's a lot of things we do before we have to get to that point. To ensure we're not leaving site until we know that ticket is marked properly.
And something that we remind all the time: locating and marking is not an exact science.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try as much as best as possible, but you won't be like, oh, here it is. You're gonna find it over here.
Right.
And that's something that we try to tell the excavators that day. It's like, hey, if you can't find it, stop.
Yeah.
If it's way too off from what it was supposed to be, just stop. It's okay.
Right.
Just,
Make a phone call.
Contact. Communication. And that's something that we try to highlight and kind of really bring it in big words like communicate.
Right.
Pick up the phone, the excavator, and for you guys as well, you guys do that as well. Like try to open those communication channels so you guys can get the job done the best way possible, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's communication is key.
Yeah.
In both ways.
Yeah.
The excavator also has the opportunity to call 811.
Yeah.
Call on a second notice if something happens that you don't know who to call. Call 811, and then they can always call us back out there, and then we'll re-verify, hook up again, figure out what's going on if where they dug is not where it is. Because I mean, there's times you can hook up to something and it gives you a solid signal going one way, and there's no other way it could be going. They go to pothole it, nothing there. Could also be they're not digging deep enough. Yeah. That's happened many times. They call us out there. Okay. They dig down to 3 foot. Where's it at? We don't know where it is. They call 811, or they call a second notice in. They get us back out there. We go. It's in the same spot. Just go 1 foot deeper, and you're there. And then, sure enough, it's just a matter of going deeper. So, some simple things can solve it too.
And sometimes you can't say the depth, right? Because otherwise they'll go as deeper as they can, and then that's when you are more, fragile to hit a line.
Yeah, I mean, our reason why we don't give depths is we don't want to be also held liable because we're not actually seeing the line physically. We're seeing everything.
It's an estimation.
Everything's matching up to tell us this is 3'6". But if I tell you that and then you get that depth, and you don't find it, or you find it, and maybe there's it was a deadline or whatever the case is. There's so many things. So that's why the most important part is potholing it, checking it out, verifying before you cross the utility. Now you got me messing the word. Hand digging.
Hand digging.
Get a shovel.
Techniques. Yes.
Right. Hand digging.
Yes.
Yeah. Hydrovac. All kinds of stuff you can do. Expose the line. Find out. Okay, this is
support the line as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Support line. Yeah. Gas line. That they have to mark. What type it is. Plastic, steel, the size. So go look at what it's written on the ground for gas in particular, and then that should be what you find in the ground. If it's not, then make a call. So.
Yeah, always call 811, and if you have access and you can contact also the locator, and because if you might be able to see it on your ticket, call it if you have any questions, because sometimes you guys can answer right away and then just kind of shorten the communication and make it faster.
Right.
One thing that we always talk, and I'm pretty sure you're very familiar when you're out there trying to locate and mark, is again, communication with the excavators, but access issues is probably one of the main things when it comes to locating, right? That's one of the biggest challenges you guys sometimes face, besides trying to find the actual line, correct?
Right. That's a big problem that happens in the field, and really it's not. We can't always blame the contractor, it may be a contractor's calling multiple properties. They're going to cross multiple rear easements. Well, they don't know who all those people are, and so if they're doing gas work and they're boring through a backyard and there's like 10 houses back to back, I mean, sometimes somebody's going to have a locked gate. It just is what it is. So that's where we try to make contact with the homeowner, knock on the door, gain access. But it's also where having a good phone number as a contractor, if you're working a single house, is make sure we have access to that before we get there. So call the homeowner. If they're doing work for water service line or something, they should already have called the homeowner and let them know, hey, in the next couple of days, somebody's going to be showing up. Please have your gate unlocked. And so that way when we get there, we're not having to call. And then also another thing to add to that is make sure that phone number preferably is not the front desk. Okay. I understand sometimes the front desk is the one making the tickets, but have an alternate number on there that says, hey, Billy Bob is the contractor who's going to be doing the work. So we know to call Billy Bob, and then we know the right person. So.
And the reason that Noel is telling me all this, well, to everybody who's listening, is because what happened if you guys can't locate it, simply just delays the project.
Right. Yeah. Delays the work, delays the project. You're delayed. Everybody's delayed. Yeah. And so a way to make that process a little more seamless is the front end, the documentation, the phone numbers, all that stuff. And that solves so many things.
And also something that we talk about here in our presentations, do not submit tickets when your project's already done, or if it's not an actual emergency, because that takes you guys from actually doing valid locate requests that are like submitted to go and put locates to a place that was already, done and finished. There's nothing going on there. So you have to consider, and I know it's kind of like a behavior type of thing. You're right. You want to always you want to play it safe sometimes, and okay, I'm gonna call again. But you have to keep in mind that these guys are always out there. They're 24/7. They're like working big areas from corner to corner in the state or city, and their time is valuable.
Right.
So
I mean that's the thing we've seen is fence tickets called in as emergency tickets. So I mean, improper planning doesn't constitute as an emergency. So I mean, those that's something also I think maybe 811 can or the call center can screen those too and kind of see, okay, this isn't an emergency or this is. So, but yeah, there's different things that we can do to try to make us all work together a little bit better. So.
No, and to be honest, we push that message again, but it's hard to how do I say this? To kind of obligate that person, but we're trying to make sure that they follow the right steps, and the right steps is, hey, if there's not an emergency, like you said, put in a fence, it's not an emergency.
And thankfully they've gone down. I haven't I haven't seen as many of those get called in. They're a lot fewer now. So I think it's the message is working. I think. Yeah. So.
But and now you're going to also be with us in once we start this season of next year in 2026 with safety days. You're going to be joining us in some of those presentations, and Noel's going to be there. Going to be just like in the Spanish one. Obviously, he's going to be speaking in English, but he's going to be answering any questions, kind of explaining how locating works from their end and how he can probably, maybe solve some of those miscommunications, right? That some excavators may have, and give them hey, this is what we actually do for you guys.
Right.
And we need you guys to work on our side. Sometimes it almost sounds like it's like you guys are on one end and the excavators are on the other end, and it's like. Is that kind of like a love and hate relationship?
Right. Yeah. And I was just thinking about that here today on my way up here. There's a bit of a stigma. It seems to be locators versus contractors.
Contractors, yeah.
And it's not that. I mean, that's the least conducive thing to getting stuff done efficiently, because I know, and everybody knows that works under me and our company, that the better communication, the better relationship you have with your excavators, the better. I mean, there's nothing better than having an area locked down as a locator and you know everything there, and then all the contractors know you, all the excavators know you. You have a good relationship with them. They work with you, you work with them. That's how it should be, and that's what we try to push all the time: is have a good relationship with them. Don't ever do anything to harm that relationship, because it's only going to hurt yourself in the future, both ways too. People don't want to work with you or vice versa. So
and time is gold. I mean, they have to value your guys' times, and you guys have to value their time as well.
Yeah.
And to me, it comes down to just talking and trying to always keep that communication open. Again, one of the biggest issues in from what I've learned in this industry is like. Projects, they want to be rushed in a way. Not that they want to build something right away, but it's like they want to start doing the pre-stuff right away, like the marking, the excavating, and all that stuff. It's like, take your time. Like the project is, some of those big projects or even a small one, it's going to take more than a week or so.
Oh, months.
Months. So it's like, it's okay. Like, do the pre-stuff first, which is like, preparing your work site, then contacting OK11. Always contact OK11 before you're digging. Then check your post response. Wait the period, that 48 hours. Give them enough time to come out and locate and mark. And if you have any questions, there's access. You can call us. You can contact them. We know them. They know us. I mean, if we can get a hold of them, they might put a number on that ticket. Hey, you can contact Noel Rojas, or phone number.
Phone number's on the flag.
It's on the So there's our resources there for the excavator. Same as you guys. You guys sometimes gonna have to call the excavator. So also leave that number there so they can call you guys if you guys have any questions. Because again, it's all about communication. It's about what you just said earlier, building that relationship. And hey, Noel, we've worked in the past. Sorry, sometimes things can happen. Hey, I don't have my area prepared for you to locate. Can you come later today? Don't come right now in the morning. I know you're like in the area. Stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that can happen, right? I mean, having that conversation sometimes helps, like wasting time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have projects right now, large projects right now. I mean, they can be anywhere from 50 to 100-mile stretches for fiber overlays, huge projects. And so the initial planning for that starts way before, like the ones we have now, it started months before. Contacting the utility company, they're letting us know, hey, we have this incoming project. I mean, that stuff's great to have a heads up. And then finding that contractor and finding out how he's going to call in the tickets. Now, we can't force them to do anything, but more than likely they'll work with us because they know it's going to get their tickets marked in time. Instead of calling in 100 tickets all at once, all due the same day, chunk it out, call in a little 10-mile radius, complete that job, call in the next 10-mile, and man, that makes stuff go so much smoother, because, if you think about when we mark a whole area, 100-mile radius.
And they don't even work in there.
They don't work there. They're going to update all this because they're not going to be there. They're only going to work right here. So by the time this is all has to be updated, the flags are gone, the marks are gone. Now we're having to do everything again. So I always encourage people to chunk your stuff out, and maybe that's
step by step.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that maybe another locator would prefer something else. Communication, that's where you find.
Yeah, again, I mean, and obviously, this is your world. But I mean, some locators, like you said, man, hey, I'm here. I'll do it all in one chunk because I know this person likes to get those projects, right away.
Right.
I mean, again, it comes down to, picking up that phone, the telephone. Right. It's kind of funny. You need to use your phone, and that's or even an email. I mean, there's so many ways that you can contact right now.
We do email, we do phone. Yeah, the communication there.
And before we close, and this is I didn't have it here on our questions today, but tell us a little bit about this Hispanic community that is also part of the industry, excavators, and we also have locators that do this job. How does that, from your perspective, from your experience, the growing in Spanish speakers and doing this type of job, what you've seen, the communication barrier, is that something that you see less often? Is improving, or is like, hey, we're like in the middle?
Probably in the middle.
Okay.
I think it is improving. What you guys did, that Okie A11 for Spanish speakers, that's a big start. I think education is probably the bigger part. Going there to that kind of opened my eyes to see that, man, a lot of these people don't know some of these certain laws, piggybacking tickets.
Yeah, and elaborate just a little bit more on the piggybacking is like something that obviously you cannot do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you see that, guys? You guys see that?
Oh, yeah.
Or more in the Spanish or both?
I don't, not necessarily one or the other, just contractors in general, but I do see it. I get it when Spanish speakers don't do it because they just don't know. They don't understand. And again, that's where the education comes into play. We're reaching out, doing outreaches and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a big deal to have
in the Spanish community. The Hispanic community.
I've seen it in both. Okay. But for sure, I've seen it a lot in the Spanish-speaking community because you have small, little. I'm just going to repair this little fence or whatever like that, and they're also somebody's working the sewer line. Well, he marked this. I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick, and then they don't understand. They hit something, and now you're liable for it.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. I mean, obviously we don't. I can't talk liability, but you want to try to follow the law as much as possible and avoid anything that will affect your pocket or affect your job, right?
Yeah, and outages.
Yeah, and anything that can also, and this is a word that I like to use a lot. Is like you have to be considerate all the people's times, jobs, people's life.
Right.
I mean, when you're doing this type of job out there, and just one head can affect more than one people. One person. Sorry.
A whole community.
Yeah.
You can take out.
And not necessarily has to be something like dramatic, like somebody, causing a big explosion or anything. But like we say, like just cutting communication.
Right. You can easily take out internet for a whole community.
Just because, again, not following the law, not making the right contacts, not communicating enough, not thinking about the other person who's doing also their job. So it takes the whole village.
Right.
Just what you do, what I'm trying to do now with the Hispanic community and also with English speakers, just try to keep closing that gap and making it better. I hope one day it's with technology, communication has a better flow.
Yeah.
And everybody can be on the same page. And I think it's getting there, but again, it takes time.
It takes time. It's heading in that direction.
Yeah. And just to finish up, any advice or takeaway before we close, before we finish this podcast? It's been really interesting just kind of hearing again from you, from what you know, and also learning about how states can differ. I can imagine trying to do digging in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point it's kind of like almost... or locating is has to be kind of hard because it gets super, super cold now.
Yeah. It's crazy how much state by state laws, temperature, all that kind of stuff varies. You were asking about a takeaway, or I think the biggest takeaway, it's a simple one. It would be if you're whether you're a homeowner or an excavator, call 811. Wait till your stuff is marked. That's probably the biggest thing.
Check positive response.
Check the positive response. You'd be surprised how many damages we see out there. No ticket called in. No ticket at all. Just I remember where they put it in, but then you forgot about the neighbor who also crossed paths in there and you hit their line. So many times
Oh, because I remember a time that you guys went in the past. Oh, yeah, I know he located about here.
Yeah, that's the internet. What about the electric? And they forget about the electric. They forget about the gas. And so at the end of the day, call 811, wait for the positive response, and wait for the paint and flags.
Okie 811 hosts live webinars every other Wednesday at 2 p.m. local time. These webinars cover a wide range of safety topics for both members and excavators. If you attend our live webinar, you will receive a certificate of attendance. And if you aren't able to attend the live webinar, register anyhow to receive a recording of the webinar the following day. To check out our webinar schedule, go to the Education Events page on our website, okie811.org. If you have questions or suggestions for topics for future webinars, please contact us at education@okie811.org.
I think another thing I want to add to is, just as a takeaway, is just reaching out to contractors. Just something to them is to, never hesitate to call us. Never hesitate to call your locator. We try to establish relationships with everybody out there, for the contractors, homeowners, people who call in a lot of tickets and build up their relationship. We're here for you guys. We're here for them, and we're here to ultimately keep communities safe, and a lot of that's through communication. So don't hesitate to reach out. You can always call us back out there with 811 also, if you can't find our, you don't have our number or something like that. But don't hesitate to reach out.
You might want to say that in front of the camera. He's here to help you guys as well.
You heard me.
No, that's good. No, that's good to hear. That like you said earlier, it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about to get the job done the best way possible, and again,
community safe.
Community safe. It's about keeping the community safe, to keep you also guys safe. The guys are doing the job. Mm-hmm. You guys as locators and the excavators as well. And all I can say is thank you so much for this little. I know it was a short tutorial about how these things work and about what you guys see every day, and all those little tips for the excavators. And again, thank you guys for joining us in this latest episode of Digging Deep. Stay tuned for when this comes out, and until next time, and stay safe.